In today's video, we will talk about تصنيف الأسماء, which is nouns categories. One of the things that we need to review before we talk about this topic is that you need to remember that in Arabic, when we have a noun might have a different case ending, fatha or dhamma or kasra, and this will depend on the role of the word in the sentence. Now, this process of this change, we call it i'rab. I'rab. Now, let's review. Now, we have this sentence, which is ركض الطالب, which means the student ran. ركض الطالب. So, we have ركض, and this is a verb, past tense, and then we have الطالب, which is the student. الطالب is the subject for the verb. And we know that the subject or الفاعل is going to be مرفوع, and مرفوع means one of the things that means it needs to have a ضمة. So مرفوع, or it have a ضمة. And then we have سلمت على الطالب. سلمت على الطالب. So here it means I said hi to that student. Now you know that على is a preposition, and we always have to keep in mind that when we have a noun after any preposition, it will have a kasra. So we have الطالب, it will always have a kasra. Whenever we have a preposition like على, the noun after it will have a kasra. And then we have شاهدت الطالبة. شاهد, that's a verb which means to see, and this to, which is the subject, which means I saw. شاهدت, I saw. الطالبة. الطالبة is the object of this verb. So we have الطالبة, we have the object, we have a fatha on top of it. So these examples show us how the role of a word in the sentence can change the case ending. Now let's go to our topic, which is the تصنيف الأسماء, which is noun categories. The first noun we will talk about is الاسم المقصور, and we will know in a little bit what that means. الاسم المقصور. And then we have الاسم المنقوص, and then we have الاسم الممدود. Let's see what is الاسم المقصور. الاسم المقصور is a noun that ends with an alif or a broken alif, which is alif, or a broken alif, which is with no dots, or الألف المقصورة. One of the things that we need to always keep in mind is that the letter before the alif will always have a fatha. The letter before this alif will always have a fatha. Let's see some examples of الاسم المقصور. So we have here a name of a man, Mustafa. Mustafa. So Mustafa is a noun that ends with an alif maqsura or a ya with no dots, and that will make it al-ism al-maqsur. But we have Mustafa, we have the alif maqsura, and then we have the fa, and the fa will have a fatha, always have a fatha. The next one here, the next name is Mustashfa. Mustashfa, which is hospital. Now you know that we have here alif maqsura, the end of this noun is alif maqsura, and we have this fa, and the fa have a fatha. So whenever we see alif maqsura, immediately before it we will find the fatha, and that's what makes it ism maqsur. And then we have dunya. Dunya, which is the name of a girl. Dunya have an alif in the end, and before it we have the ya with a fatha on it. So we have dunya, we have alif, ya, and we have fatha. And then we have the word asa, asa, which means like a wooden stick. So asa have an alif in the end, and then we have the sad with a fatha on the sad. And these are some examples of al-ism al-maqsur. So once again, al-ism al-maqsur is the noun that have an alif or alif maqsura, which is the broken alif or the ya with no dots, and before it, the letter before it will have a fatha. Let's continue to al-ism al-manqoos. Al-ism al-manqoos is a noun that ends with a ya, ends with a ya, and the letter before this ya will always have a kasra, will always have a kasra. Now, let's see some examples. We have the word Hadi. Hadi is a name of a guy, but we can see here that Hadi have ya in the end of this word, and then we have the letter before it is with a kasra. So we have ya, and then we have the letter before it is with a kasra. And then we have another name of a guy. We have Fadi. We have Fadi. We have the ya, and then we have dal with a kasra. And again, a name of a guy. We have Shadi. Shadi. We have ya, and before it there's a dal with a kasra. And then we have the word Ali. Ali, which means high, like this building we use Ali, or this mountain is Ali. So we say Jabal Ali, like a high mountain. So we have Ali, which is high. But we can see here that we have Ali, we have ya, and then we have before it, we have lam with a kasra before it. And then we have the word muhami, muhami, which means a lawyer. Now this word here, we have a ya, and then we have mim, and the mim has a kasra. And then we have qadi, qadi, which means a judge. And the word qadi, which is a judge, qadi, we have ya, and in the end there's a ya, and the immediately before the ya is having a kasra. Now let's go to the ism mamdud. The ism mamdud is the noun that ends with a hamza, and before this hamza there is an alif. There's always an alif. So we have hamza in the end of this noun, and before the hamza we have an alif. So let's have some examples. We have the word sama, sama, which means sky. So sama, we have hamza in the end of this word, and then we have an alif. So hamza, and then we have an alif. Sama, sama, which means sky. And then we have wafa, wafa, which is a name of a girl, but we have here hamza in the end of this word, and then we have alif before it, wafa. And then we have raja. This is also a name of a girl, raja. We have the hamza, and then we have this alif. Now, these are the things that you guys need to know about these nouns categories. Let's very quickly review what we said about these nouns. So, al-ism al-maqsur, this is a noun that ends with an alif, and an alif or a broken alif, and the letter before this alif usually have a fatha. Al-ism al-manqoos is a ya, and it ends with a ya, and this ya is always, the letter before it always have a kasra. And then we have الاسم الممدود. الاسم الممدود is a noun with a hamza in the end, and before the hamza you always find an alif, and that's what will make it اسم ممدود.